about, kickback. What is it that we cannot get money to maintain the fleet we have, but we are still buying more? We are behaving like somebody who is fetching water into a cane basket. We cannot maintain the fleet and we keep buying more. The Speaker, it is very, very, very important if indeed we want to take emergency healthcare issues in this country seriously, we must begin to look at the National Ambulance Service. And for me, I am not surprised that they keep demanding money from people before they deliver their services.
Nana Akufo-Addo adwe ne se opese mpuntu ko Ghana fa nyina enti na yeye ejuma obia timi hu se de ekoso ohwe health sector ya ye baaye na constituencies ne districts bebre any ambulance service enti na yedi hihye baaye ye say one constituency one ambulance. Oho, yedi 300 ambulances by a National Ambulance Service. No, it me ejina as nine so. Me gidi say mosanka mo ambulance. Wow, a contombra.
See, I make a one chance to tell you, not the year, not that. The person will not bad at everything. The person will come and Fabra, so we find your books. Must come and because everyone out there. But the business I'm going to go around if you're about yeah. Oh, I'm a similar pepper beaton. I mean, you do her. I got an ambulance this year. Yet. I coat of arm ya for whom I had to Dubai anyway.
Dubai new. They don't my auntie go a train no more say. Niaukano. Titi which California general no. Which Califa? Mamma large Mammy Sumini more moon. Which California general no. Which Califa we in your Ghana. We in your Ghana. We have for them race. So Dubai. Okay. Nti I know wo de manen kwachire na me nyai me fa nkyere omo car eni ti so nti sisi ano ewrade nyagopo Ghana pa ewrade
ambulance normally by funded by World Bank
ma mo kyere ni
so what you
ma me pesa mo hu ni ye na don enye Ghana ro mo achrogu ai be hwe ade don be hwe ade se Ghana ni ambulance pa
ya tom Ghana ni Ghana na bra sambra
na call 112 ye we ye 14 there
so we need a coat of arm. The bar say, we need a World Bank that the man say, you come for your hospital. Then you see me free, buy it. Chame, no moves in it.
No, mammy, try ye.
No moves in
Ebi amo mi ka se edit. Me ma twa ko kire ye na embra ne ye. We dey na sit time. They said the radiology specialist ambulance Ministry of Health funded by World Bank.
National Ambulance Service.
National Ambulance Service. Share. Rubber, a new ambulance. Until don't ambulance way be do Dubai. Don't. Ambulance way be do Dubai.
Dubai no beto I World Bank to ambulance na my na ba ko car. Any into me chire. Ba se me car. Over. Yo, the video we must share man question. Oh, you're penny for a boom here. And for 4 ambulance hospital, it's by a tongue. What's 115,000
drams, which is almost like 300 and something thousand Ghana
drams.
It's almost like 300 and something thousand Ghana cedis.
This ambulance will be here. Why? Ghana, you coat of arms, the bone, you should be a chap on the bone. Coat of arms with freedom and justice. In ye Ghana, Dina boy, Ghana, in ye Ghana ambulance service, Ghana. Yeah, we more some listen to nature. Or see na pa.
Na mo manenka no ade na Ghana mo mpe nokore saa o my Ghana ye o my a o mo mpe nokore hwe ambulance e bi ni o aha ye shipping company nipa kono den akwakoto Africa Park na ye den o de be sia koni kurum he me ma hyem yusu na den na esi ho no resta kana na esi ho no aha ye shipping company ambulance nye bi ni ambulance bi ni na esi ho no hwe na ma fa ye den akwakoto a ye den ama fa koto a o modi ko mu kurum no ade no my Ghana na ewo no mo mpe no koresa what no shipping company ni shipping company adan ni wo ni na adan cash na wo ni na adan o mo de ko ye be dan o mo ship ni na adan e de akwa manfo na adan akototo you see this ambulance brand ye o esisi what side motor o car park no ana obi akokoto a o mo tell dem so mo di ko mu krom Ghana mpe no kore hwe mame kire o van say mame tell different one mame tell different one Ghana ada na mo mpe no kore sa asem na do tiri record e ka no when we say o mo be sa kata so e de nsem ya hye no he ebi nie we say different ambulance we ni na no o mo de be o me ship e de akọ mu krom hwe enie na ba ko so crazy ya say shipping company we shipping company Ghana mo mpe no kore o ma we ro ebe ye no ebe bre o ma we be ye no ye be bre papa because o ma ye mpe no kore no in fact ebe ye din so ma be ko nanim because akoto sade ni si ho a ye ton ba bi o ka no ebe bi ye ton cars ye nye cars e den e wo ho ebe bi ye ton cars ye nye cars e den e wo ho nti aso na o ka no onim de wo ka ma mo nyama dwen te se o ya bofra bi ana se afe no aba Dubai a onim de wo ka onim de wo ka don't tell onim de wo ka cars we ni na ye cars ya amafa kototo e wo car park ya omode ko wo be na brand ni ada ho saa wo de ko okrom na se wo different we bi na so wo be ya na wasesa kala no because ha no untimi sesa kala na eden e wo ha se de don't tell eden e ka no enti wo to wi na de ko okrom na wo de ko du okrom wi a na de kala wo pese wo de eden wo de ye no no wo de wasesa no you see shipping company and ho no sakas we na omode ko omebe ship we de ko omotam nso ye Ghana in fact sometimes no ho Kofi Adoma wani so me ye di ho yawo pa Kofi Adoma me ye di ho yawo because wo no na ka bi say we ye youth a wo bibini a wo be ye investigation ye ansa na wo so be kan bibia fa ho ya den wa kan bibia fa ho but there also kaka no
that we make sure that happens. We've put in place a very first-class economic management team. I would even say world-class, because the Minister of Finance, the very known Wall Street banker, investment banker, really high achiever, the former Minister of Finance, who is deputy vice chair of the economic management team, Yao Safo-Mafo, he was voted at one time the best finance minister in Africa by the World Economic Forum, and many others. They're just a solid, capable group of individuals who have come together to manage the team, and we meet every week without fail. And so we have a laser-eyed focus on the economy, and we are taking decisions and making sure we monitor what is going on.
John Mahama says he has a new idea. And what is the new idea? He says he wants a 24-hour economy. 24-hour economy. He doesn't even understand that policy. Today in Ghana, our hospitals work 24 hours. Our electricity company works 24 hours. Our water company works 24 hours. Our phone companies work 24 hours. Many job bars work 24 hours. Isn't it? Today, because of digitalization, the banks, you can transfer money 24 hours. You can receive money 24 hours. Isn't it? So he doesn't understand his own policy. It does not make sense. And I want you to vote in 2024, but I will bring a new vision. I will bring new policy, and we will transform this country. Johama is the past. Dr. Baumia is the future. If Dr. Obama was there, we would still be having a doomsday economy. You can't have 24-hour economy with doomsday. So you want to vote for Dr. Baumia in 2024. We will take the country to new heights. Salamu alaikum.
24 hours. You can buy electricity 24 hours. But because of digitalization, you can transfer money for 24 hours. You can receive money for 24 hours. There are many chop bars that are open for 24 hours. Today, I hear John Mahama has a new idea that he wants a 24-hour economy. I say, I don't know where he got the idea from, but it is not a bright idea. The 24-hour economy cannot be legislated by government. Today, there are many businesses that are already open for 24 hours. Hospitals are open for 24 hours. You can buy electricity 24 hours. That's because of digitalization. You can transfer money for 24 hours. You can receive money for 24 hours. There are many chop bars that are open for 24 hours. The police is working for 24 hours. Security services are working for 24 hours. So what is this 24-hour economy that you want to bring? It is purely an issue for any business. If you feel you will make money opening 24 hours, there is no law preventing you from opening. But this is one idea that John Mahama thinks he has brought. It is a bad idea. It is an idea that has not been thought through. It is a bad idea. And so I want you to compare me and John Mahama. Who has the ideas to transform this economy? Who has the ideas? Who has the ideas? Yes. The track record of John Mahama doesn't show innovative thinking. It doesn't show ideas. The track record of Dr. Baumia is idea after idea after idea after idea after idea. That is the difference. I will, and I tell you, I have my own priorities and I will have my own vision. When I become president, I will bring more ideas, and you will hear about them very soon. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless our homeland. God bless our homeland, Ghana. The economy is going to grow and grow and grow, and we will have jobs and jobs and jobs. This is the economy of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Yes, and so we don't have a direct control when the reports are ready, when the reports are completed. What we can do at best is to impress upon ranking members and the chair. So I can assure him today we have. What's the problem? This is better than your situation. This is better than what we experienced under you. You should know this. Sam George, you should know this. This is far better than what we experienced under your tenure. So, fact be told, as we speak, 3 of the reports are almost ready. My friend should go easy. But I want to caution him that he should equally talk to his ranking members. They should quickly read through the report to receive the signatures of the chairman. And therefore, we ask for being ready to prosecute government business. There's no doubt about it. I'm surprised at him. And you know we are very ready. What are I going to say?
Well, Minority Chief Whip.
Purposes by the GRA, can SML claim credit for the revenue increment in the sector?
If you look at what NPA is doing tank gauging and also metering, it is even much more sophisticated than what SML is doing. On top of that, they also have tank tracking. They're able to track the volumes on every tank from the depot to the filling station. If all of that is not addressing the leakages that we do have, just having electronic seals at the depot wouldn't be a more effective way to ensure that revenue is actually generated from the downstream sector.
The Fourth Estate also confronted the managing director of SML with the figures the company churned out as savings it made because of its operations. First was the claim in April 2021 that SML saved the state 1 billion Ghana cedis due to its operations.
If you use the 2019 as a base,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
Subtract this one, you get 1 billion for 2020.
It's 800 million.
Okay, about 800 million, okay.
Yes.
The company started operations in 2020. From the revenue figures we obtained from the GRA, the difference in the total revenue from the downstream petroleum sector between 2019 and 2020 is 800 million cedis. If all the increment was attributed to the work of the company, it will still fall short of the 1 billion cedis it claimed to have saved. In February 2023, SML Ghana Limited again claimed that it had saved 3 billion cedis due to its operations. The company has admitted the services it listed on its website as curtailing irregularities in the sector did not exist and deleted them from the website. Even if SML was carrying out those services and all the incremental revenue within the period of its operations was credited to the company's efforts, the amount would be 2.4 billion cedis and not 3 billion cedis as it claimed to have saved. When we put these figures to the managing director, he made a shocking admission.
That's why that 3 billion, I'm not. That's why I told you from the beginning. I said I don't know about this 3 billion.
We cannot say your intervention saved 3 billion.
No, I said 3 billion. I'm not. I've told you that I'm not aware, because when we were told about the publication, we even called it.
As we speak this morning, still on your website.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In fact, to be honest, I don't even know website matter.
Despite evidence that SML Ghana lied about the services it renders to the state and the amount of money it claimed to have saved, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, this year decided that the company's contract should be expanded to cover the gold mining sector and the upstream petroleum production sector in Ghana. A contract cited by the Fourth Estate shows that SML Ghana is entitled to $0.75 per barrel of oil produced in Ghana. Ghana currently produces between 160,000 and 170,000 barrels of oil per day. The country is expected to add an additional 80,000 barrels per day from the Pecan oil fields, which is expected to be developed a little over a year from now. The company is also entitled to 0.75% of the total volume of gold produced in the country. Ghana last year produced 3.7 million ounces of gold. What this means is that per current arrangement, SML Ghana is entitled or will be paid
over $100 million every year. This contract is for 10 years. The Ministry of Finance, the GRA, are yet to respond to our right to information request on these contracts. The regulator of the upstream sector, the Petroleum Commission, has however said it knows nothing about this contract. The Petroleum Commission also says it has no report on leakages or loss of revenue in the upstream sector. The reason this company is employed or contracted to monitor.
Recently, Tullow, installed new metering systems that were calibrated by the Standards Authority. Is Finance Ministry saying that those metering systems were wrong, or is that the feedback they got from the Standards Authority that the meters that are already in place have problems? That requires that we bring in SML to now be the one that can accurately monitor petroleum production.
When asked what his advice to the Commissioner General of the GRA on the SML contracts would be if he was still the technical advisor, Mr. Soti said he could not answer.
That is not a question for me to answer. I'm not.
How do you charge?
According to the GRA, however, even without the other electronic systems put in place, it would be almost impossible to lose petroleum products at the depots. A number of players with different roles and interests are present every time to police the product at every point, and without the GRA opening the valves, no depot or OMC can load petroleum products.
The product is owned by the BDC, so the BDC must be in the known, the customs must be in the known because we have access to. And for most of even the depots, the access to the depots are controlled by us, as in the gate, because it's a bonded warehouse, okay? And then we have national security at the depots. We have NPA reps at the depots. So by the time you are done seeing everybody, that exercise is not even lucrative anymore. And the depot has a reputation to protect, because if day in, day out, people get to know that products get missing at your place, they are in for business. People will not come and store their products there. So even when there are no systems, it is virtually impossible. And we haven't had any such case, ever since.
It is also important to note that although the GRA has contracted SML, the readings from the SML meters are not used by the GRA for its tax purposes.
It has been the way bill figure, which is meters, the volume that is being dispensed from the meters. That is the volume we use for tax purposes.
Switch meters.
That is the gantry meters.
SML has confirmed to the Fourth Estate that the meters at the loading gantries of the depots, which are calibrated by the Ghana Standards Authority every 6 months, take more accurate readings than the meters of SML. These are the readings that are used for tax and revenue purposes and not the readings by the SML meters.
From the engineering perspective, if you have contact meters and non-contact meters, which of these two is likely to give you a more accurate reading?
Okay, so the contact meters are always the best.
We also know that the depots, they have the contact meters.
Yes.
You've alluded to the fact that the contact meters
are the best.
So, if the SML meters are less accurate and their readings are not the ones used for tax purposes by the GRA, can SML claim credit for the revenue increment in the sector?
Secure connection that comes to our data warehouse here.
Players in the industry say real-time reading of loading at the depots means nothing because tax or revenue are not collected in real time. Besides, those figures by SML are not used by the revenue authorities to collect taxes or margins.
SML is being paid 5 pesos per liter for every product that is lifted from the depots. You do the simple math, that means they are paying in excess of about 21 million Ghana cedis every month, all right, for the work that they are doing. And that in itself is extremely questionable. What exactly is SML doing? What investment have they done to warrant the payment of such colossal amounts to them? The electronic seals that they have installed at the depots. If somebody wanted to give that contract and was minded about value for money, the first question that comes to mind is what investment is SML doing that actually warrants that they are paid over 20 million, Ghana cedis every month. These electronic seals that they have, it's not going to cost you $1 million to procure. So why are they staying on by that one-time single investment and taking such colossal amounts of money from the state?
So we have our team also on field, and they are collecting that data. They scan it and it comes straight to our data center.
SML Ghana also scans the way bills that GRA officials at the depots receive for later references. Some sources within the GRA say the GRA officials can scan these documents if they are given the resources to do so. They do not need a third-party company to scan the documents they receive.
We are taking up the responsibility that GRA has to be able to do that revenue assurance and give it to private companies. Because what prevents GRA from doing that one-time investment of ensuring that they can track revenues, even if they want to have a concurrent tracking mechanism with NPA to be able to satisfy themselves that they are getting the right numbers. GRA can do that one-time investment. They already have customs positioned at all the depots and have a clear view of what is happening at the depots. So that same human capacity can be utilized to monitor the flows from all the depots without duplicating and giving another contract to someone else.
SML Ghana also indicated that its contract has been extended to include measuring the volume of products in the tanks at the depots. Currently, GRA officials take measurement of the products in the tanks every morning and close of day.
Potentially, and I use potentially advisedly, we consider it duplicitous. However, we have agreed that we want to meet with them and understand the real rationale for which they also want to do an automatic tank gauging system. It doesn't matter if their automatic tank gauging system is supposed to gauge the tanks at the depots, whilst our system gauges the tanks at the filling stations.
Through these services, SMS claims that it has saved the nation billions of cedis of revenue that would have been lost through under-declaration and other anomalies takes place can be traced and taxed. Together with the presence of GRA officials manning all the depots ensure that every liter of product is accounted for, players in the industry say the system is robust enough to curtail the losses of the past.
The ERDMS system.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our job, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country, wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi, inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Thursday, the 21st day of December 2023. By His grace, we're live and we're here with yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude will go to Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making the rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly. But let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Economic zones policy outlined as government baits companies. SML, ICUMS fetch over 3 billion Ghana cedis, GRA. MasterCard, MEDA invest $6.1 million in Rice Value Chain project. GJA launches third African Media Convention. Supreme Court not populated, Justice Kofi. Daily Guide. WASI results, top grades reach record high. Belgian new force girl deported. Go beyond Ghana, Nana to Ghanaian businesses. NDC presses panic button. The New Crusading Guide. NPP dominates district assembly elections, SEDA report reveals. Stop the nepotism and selective contract payments. Contractors cry out. Ghana Gas grid co-workers warn of imminent doomsor. Burial of late Lieutenant General Smith on Saturday in accordance with Muslim tradition. Atone tenancy to Nungwastu, King Wellenchi III to Algerian and homeowners. Galamsey pushing Ghana's ecosystem to the tipping point. Suleimana Isifu. The Insight. Mahama, he promises to pay allowances to assembly members and rural teachers. BRICS and de-dollarization, 95% of trade between China and Russia no longer done in U.S. currency. Upper West Akim NPP balls as party office locked, no forms sold. Plot to get sitting MP go unopposed in full force. AFCON 2023, Kempon travel and tours ready to take France to Ivory Coast and back. After demanding retraction and apology, Teshi Manche, Jaziche warned of legal suit Adansi newspaper over alleged misleading publication. Something doesn't sound right with this headline. The Daily Statesman. NPP beats NDC in assembly elections. Traders satisfied with Yuletide surge in sales. Africa's media urged to champion AFCFTA agenda. No one should be denied nomination forms. Business Finder. GRA backs SML. Says contract is justified. World Bank names new country director for Ghana and 2 others. Daily Post. Next NDC government will abolish quota system in nursing training institutions. Mahama. Burial service for late Lieutenant General J.H. Smith to be held at Al-Aziz Mosque, Bema Camp on Saturday. Parliament approved 786.9 million cedis for Electoral Commission. EC breached the Constitution by cancelling indelible ink. Minority. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly.
Pascal is showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that he hired a security goat to protect the data shed. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded to cloud storage yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Mommy!
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
On my long and stressful days, I long for the refreshing company of my favorite companion. Wow, my favorite. Tomato onions, maybe tomatoes. Hi. Oh, hello. Please, I need to know the drink you were enjoying earlier at the shop. Sure. Even on Sundays in the markets, nothing is for one.
Makuma swaji.
Guess what I brought? A refreshing companion for you and I.
My favorite.
Angel Drinks. Nyamepe, nyawenejehu.
This advert is FDA approved.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
We are back bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bet. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot.
You always get way more with Betway.
And you might see.
This advert has been vetted and approved.
Everything 18 December, I'm coming 6 January. And your high sense bro, you don't call me.
High sense free. It comes with don't call me. And don't call me price.
TV, and then near me, high sense showrooms in your the amount, don't call me price.
High sense condition. The amount, don't call me price. America, everything here. The triple sound system. A high sense bro, don't call me.
High sense bro, don't call me.
High sense Christmas promo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I near my way showrooms in ya. Ya this one myself.
Stop! Enough you guys, oh. Continue.
Prepare yourself to unleash even more moolah by staking from 1 Ghana cedi to 350 Ghana cedis. And you could win 26 times your stake on the exciting new Pick 1 game from Game Pack. Play by dialing *946# on all networks via our website or download the Game Pack app on www.gamepackgames.com. Choose your Pick 1 number from 1 to 36. Place your stake and watch our live draws on Adum TV at 9 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. daily.
Hey, live life like me with Game Pack. Game Pack, more moolah, more power.
This game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly.
The biggest car center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadam Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho, directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motofix, Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning, I have two honorable members of Parliament representing a group people of the Buem constituencies, the Honorable Kofi Adams. Kofi, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
Also with me on the show this morning is the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Anyasutuum constituency. He's also a medical practitioner, Dr. Dixon Adomaku Kisi. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How are you doing?
Are you sure
I'm doing well, but I think sleep deprived.
Sleep?
Yeah.
Why you performed surgery last night?
Well, I did yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, after a nice event with Foreign Affairs Ministry, they did a Carol's.
Are you on the Foreign Affairs Committee?
No.
Yeah.
Now?
No.
He's the vice chair.
Oh,
not just on the committee. He's
you are the vice chair?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And the Minister for Foreign Affairs is a constituent.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The former MP.
Yeah. So
yes.
You know, I'm sort of following her footsteps in a way.
But are you sure?
Honorable Ayoko Butri.
Yes.
The legal practitioner.
Fantastic.
How many terms did she do?
4.
She did 4.
4?
Yeah, 4.
So you would likely want to...
the man has primaries in 37
that's
days.
right. When he says sleepless...
Let him focus on the 37.
When he says sleepless, I thought he was going to tell us that it's about the primaries even the more, because they started picking forms from yesterday. So
yeah,
that's more of the surgery.
I mean,
not the cutting of the.
This is Christmas filing. Yes. You go and present your documents on Christmas Day. Yes. You have to add the Chris Brunya and everything.
You know, it's one of those interesting things. The things you do might be even more than the form itself.
I tell you, what a time.
It's just like going for funerals. You donate maybe 500 to the family, and between the funeral grounds and your car, you spend more than the 500 Ghana. And you're like,
Primaries at the Brodian official time.
Charlie, the timing there is ridiculous.
Anyway, imagine getting rewarded for doing something you already do every single day. It sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what Momo Season is all about. There's something for everyone. Download the Momo app on Play Store or App Store and use Momo Pay for your day-to-day transactions to a merchant either through the QR code or merchant ID and stand a chance of winning 1,000 Ghana cedis weekly and other amazing prizes. Our merchants are also not left out of the reward. Receive payments and win. Keep using your Momo Pay on the Momo app and get rewarded. There are lots and lots of exciting prizes for everyone. So what are we doing today? Transact more with Momo Pay, earn more points and win big this Momo season. Visit momomerchantapplication.mtn.com.gh for your Momo for Business account today. It's Momo season, so just Momo it with Momo Pay. Terms and conditions apply. And Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, are bringing you a product which is also approved by the Food and Drugs Authority, and that's Kel Kids toothpaste flavored with strawberry that gives a perfect taste for kids and makes them develop a personal attitude and love for brushing their teeth always. Kel Kids toothpaste protects child's gum, prevents cavities and makes the teeth strong and healthy with freshness all day. It is recommended for children between the ages of 2 and 6. Kel Kids, happy, smile. And of course, the pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging for all ages. And you need to really enjoy what they call the mansions of your labor. You need not worry because lift and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit lifts and elevators at Sakumono. Just call them on 0200535515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and best solutions in easy vertical movement. And let's talk a bit about alternative medicine. Now, these days even the public hospitals have alternative medicine departments. But Amen Alternative Medical Hospital, best alternative medicine hospitals in Ghana today. So for all your health consultations, counseling, physiotherapy, and homeopathic medicine, Amen Alternative Medical Hospital is the best. As the first to modernize herbal and homeopathy medicine in Ghana. You have the best medical practitioners from KNUST with a state-of-the-art medical equipment curated for your need. The most obscure ailments can be diagnosed and taken care of. Amen Alternative Medical Hospital is at Klagon on the Lashibia Shaman Road near the Underbridge, and they are open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can also call them on 0207-229-505 or 0244-227-192 to book your appointments. Amen Alternative Medical Hospital, God is the healer. Okay, so over the last 2 days on this show, we have been looking at the documentary by the Fourth Estate on revenue assurance by SML. So what the Ministry of Finance, the GRA, are doing with a company called SML, and the fact that they've signed a contract to extend it to the upstream petroleum sector and also the gold sector as well. Now we've had a certain pushback from SML and also the GRA. Yesterday we brought both to you, and we also spoke to Mr. Benboy, who was documentary and is in the CSO space and also knows a lot about that sector. Well, this morning, I'll be speaking with the man who led 2 others to actually come up with this documentary. Well, he's far away in the United States. Well, time difference and all that. He's studying at Harvard. But he's graciously agreed to speak to us, especially with respect to the pushback. And I'm speaking about the investigative journalist Manasseh Zuri Awini. And he will be speaking with us on the show this morning. Good morning, Manasseh.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing well by God's grace.
Okay, I'm sure that it's probably about 3 a.m. where you are.
Yes.
Okay.
It is 3 a.m.
All right. Thanks
The
for
producer kept me up on earlier. So.
Yeah. Thanks for sacrificing your sleep to speak with us. But before we get into the issue, how's Harvard treating you? How's Harvard treating you?
Well, Harvard is an eye opener, and some of the things are full of cultural shocks. So I will say I had high expectations, but those expectations have been exceeded.
Okay, all right. So we'll speak about the exploits at Harvard later on. But congratulations once again on your fellowship, and we know that it can only make you better.
Thank you.
Right. Now this latest work of yours, I'm speaking of Fourth Estate, and there were two others who you worked on this documentary with. First of all, what informed this work? What motivated this work?
Thank you, Randy. Yes. Over the years, if you look at the media reports coming from the downstream petroleum sector, there have been many instances when the GRA and the MPA have come out to say that companies, that's oil marketing companies, that buy petroleum products sell at a filling station, often lift, sell, and then abscond with taxes. And they explain that every liter of fuel you buy, there are taxes and margins that are embedded in it. So what these companies are supposed to do is to go and sell the product, take their profit, and then take the tax component and the margins component and pay to the government. But a lot of them don't do that. So the GRA has been publishing figures of companies that lifted petroleum products and didn't pay. The MPA in recent times, I think under the leadership of Mr. Lee, has blacklisted a number of them. And this has gone on for a long time, and we decided to do a comprehensive documentary to understand what is being done to curtail it so that these perennial problems could cease. It was when we got in that we realized that a company that has strong backing from the Ministry of Finance is actually creating more problems than these OMCs. And I say this because the OMCs that are owing, the problem they have created in terms of financial loss to Ghana cannot compare with what this company called Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. So the initial thing was to look at the sector in general and see how authorities were dealing with it. But when we got in and realized what was happening with this company, we decided to pay more attention to it. And to our suspicion, the company itself couldn't stand by the things it seemed to be doing and taking payment.
For the benefit of those who haven't watched your documentary or have watched it and still do not get what really it is about, what were your key findings? What would you consider to be your key findings?
The key findings are these. One, there were problems in the downstream petroleum sector. And we are talking about the part that deals with the refinery, the transportation, the consumption of petroleum products from the depots to the filling station. These problems were mainly through diversion, dilution, and the declaration on the reporting, and also OMCs or oil marketing companies such as the Goil, the Allied, and others. That these are not the reporting companies, but I just want to explain what the OMCs mean. They lift the product, a number of them, and they do not pay the government taxes or margins. So these were the main problems. Now, how were these problems being addressed? Both the NPA, National Petroleum Authority, and the GRA confirmed that in 2018 they introduced something they call the Enterprise Relational Database Management System, the ERDMS. And this system is an electronic platform that has all the players on this platform. And what it does is that if you want to place an order for petroleum products anywhere in the country, you go through this system. And once you owe taxes and margins and you have not paid, the system is able to stop you from loading. The GRA is on that system, the NPA is on that system, and all the others. So what the GRA told us in this documentary was that once the ERDMS was introduced, it ensured that they are able to account for value, because whatever you let, even the placement, if you are ordering 50,000 liters, it has to be on the system. Everybody can see the processes, and once you lift it, it's recorded. So what the GRA, head of petroleum, one Samson Elim, who is in the documentary, said, once you're able to account for your volume, then that means you're able to account for your taxes, the revenue. Then also there is a system to track diversion. That's those who lifted the product and said they were taking it to the landlocked countries such as Burkina Faso, Mali, or even parts of West Africa, but ended up selling here. The NPA introduced a tracking system, an electronic travel tracking system, that if you lift a product, they have 2 seals for each compartment. If you indicate on the order that you are discharging in Volga and then you open to discharge in Kumasi, it will trigger an alarm and the monitoring system can locate you and then you'll be dealt with. Then also they have the well marking system that deals with dilution, and this is a means to check dilution and also smuggling of product into the market. So these, according to players in the industry, both the GRA, NPA, and also some private operators at the depots, said that are measures that are adequate in dealing with the problem. Yet, we discovered this company called Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML. And this company was making claims that it was saving the state 3 billion cedis. That in the 2 years of its operation, that's how much it saved. It is instructive to note that even before the company started its operation, the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, when he was launching the operations of the company, actually said the state was losing 2 to 3 billion cedis, and this is what the company's entrance into the space had kept. This was in 2020, even before the company started. Now, when we confronted this company with the evidence that we took figures of revenue from the Ghana Revenue Authority, the GRA, from 2012 to 2022, a 10-year period, and then we realized that there has always been growth. There has always been growth. So 2012, you had a 532 million, 2013, 583, 2014, you had 600 million, 2015 had 2.2 billion, 2016 had 2.9 billion, 2017, 4 billion, 2018, 4.6 billion, 2019, 5.2 billion, then 2020, you have 6 billion, 2021, 6.9 billion, and 2022, 7.6 billion. So we started 500,000 in 2012, and by 2022, the 10th year, we had 7.6 billion. These are figures from the Ghana Revenue Authority and it shows continuous growth in the sector. So when they started, for the first 8 years, this company wasn't there. The first 8 years, SML was not in the picture, but that didn't mean there wasn't growth. So we have from 2012 of 500,000, and then 2019 we have 5 billion. This was before the company came. So you cannot say that these figures are yours. And then also we even did a calculation and realized that if you added all the gains made since the company came in, we had 2.4 billion and not 3 billion. So when the managing director decided to argue with this, and I pointed out these figures to him, he actually admitted, saying that, look, these figures, I don't even know how they came about. And then I said, oh, but it is what you said. He said, well, it was the media that got it wrong. And I reminded him that, look, actually speak, the thing is on your website. So if Daily Graphic reported that you saved 3 billion, and you claim that you called Daily Graphic to complain about the wrong report. And when we were doing this interview, officials of the GRA, the petroleum sector, were there, and they also said that, look, we were even surprised when we saw this figure. So the GRA officials, SML officials, were unanimous that this figure was inaccurate, and you heard the man in this documentary. It is the reason we didn't put all these figures in the documentary, because you don't go on proving something which has already been admitted as false. So it is so strange now that the documentary is out, GRA is coming back to insist that they save this figure. Then also, the other major finding here is that the company, SML, claimed to be checking under reporting, under diversion and dilution, and general non-compliance in the downstream sector. These are services the company listed on its website as performing for the GRA in order to make those savings. And we started this process at the end here. We went to the depots, and by the time we got to SML, we were convinced that this company couldn't be making those, providing those services. So we confronted the managing director, and even before we confronted her, we had confronted GRA, and GRA said, no, this company is not doing those services. So the morning we had an interview with SML, the GRA officials actually said, look, when Manasseh and his team came to us, they said, these are the services we were conducting. We have no knowledge of them. So let's clarify this before we even begin the interview. Then the SML management again admitted that those claims were false, and they went ahead to delete them from the website. Now, if you claim to be providing certain services that are saving revenue, and then we confront you and then you admit that you are not providing those services that are the solution, the revenue leakages, then what basis do you have to still insist that you're providing those services? And finally, there is a general knowledge or consensus in the sector that the leakages were happening after the product was lifted. And the value chain down to the filling station, and all those are the places that we had these problems. Note that SML doesn't operate here. SML is only at the depots, the fuel depots. And then we have the GRA, the petroleum sector, telling us that even without this system, it is almost impossible to lose product at the depot level. So what the GRA said is that, or what this implies is that SML is actually placed at a point that you don't have the problems we were having. And we asked SML, have you ever detected any wrongdoing under the declaration or anything? They said, no, we don't even do that. Then also, finally, the GRA uses the figures that are recorded by meters at the loading gantry. These figures go through the NPS ERDMS, and the ERDMS linked to customs system. So SML claims to be doing revenue assurance for the GRA by measuring volumes of petroleum product that is lifted. But Randy, what this is you employ somebody to give you figures. But when it comes to calculating your taxes, you don't use that company you have employed. You don't use the figures they churn out. You use the existing figures from the loading country. Even as we speak, GRA, when they are calculating revenue, they don't use the figures SML churns out. They use the figures from the loading country. And then we have all of these things being said by GRA and SML officials in the documentary. So this is not somebody's opinion. If you watch the documentary, there are specific questions. So now the question we ask, why the SML figures were not being used? They said that the loading gantry meters, those that were there before SML came in, are actually more accurate than the SML meters. And I posed a direct question to the head of engineering at SML, one Hamdan Abubakar, and then he actually admitted that these are non-contact meters, but the contact meters are the best. They take more accurate readings. So it isn't strange that SML's readings are not the ones the GRA uses for these services. So by the time we were leaving, it was almost very clear that this company is not needed in the value chain of the downstream petroleum sector. But the biggest shock was when the finance ministry directed the GRA to now take the services of this company to the upstream. That's where we drill and then we produce oil and also the gold mining sector. And we have spoken to experts in the industry who say that there are already flow meters that ensure that the government of Ghana, through the GRA, is able to know how much we make, and then they put taxes on them. We spoke to people too in the mining sector who say that, look, when you go to the gold road, you have GRA customs officials there, and you have officials of EMNC. They actually test the gold bars to know the specific amount of gold, real gold that is in those bars. So you have two state institutions stationed there to police the process and assure the revenue for the government. So they are asking, if you are bringing SML, are you going to say that GRA, PMMC, get out and then let this company come and do the work? And if you are taking SML to the oil production sectors, are you going to now take the GRA official, the GMPC, and all the state institutions that have interest there to ensure that the government is not short-changed? Are you going to get them out? Or are you saying that GRA officials, the customs officials we have at all the warehouses, because they say the depots are warehouses, and you cannot lift the petroleum product at the depots unless you're certified by customs, the GRA. Are you saying that they are so incompetent or so corrupt that without this company coming in, you were going to lose 3 billion? And where was that 3 billion going to go? It is like saying that, okay, in 2020 or 2023, Ghana has more cars on our street than 2020 or 2019. And somebody said, oh, they have more cars on our street because we were at the port counting the number of cars that come into the country. You don't import the cars, you have not provided incentive for anybody to bring in the cars. But what SML and GRA are saying is that we have more cars this year than 2 years ago because they have got somebody there who counts the number of cars that come into the country. And was there somebody doing the counting? Yes, NPA was already doing the counting. NPA and then these people who does more accurate counting. The company that does the counting actually says that the existing system where that brings you to the figures we've been talking about. This new contract says that of every barrel of fuel that is produced, SML is getting $0.75, and we currently produce between 160,000 to 170,000 barrels a day. What this means is that a day, every single day of production, SML will make 120,000 US dollars. 120,000 US dollars every single day from this production. 120,000 US dollars is more than 1 million Ghana cedis as we speak. That is how much the company is making. Then, in the gold mining sector, they are supposed to make 0.75% of total production. And Ghana produced 3.7 million ounces of gold last year, and each ounce is sold. If you look at the Finance Ministry's budget statement, an ounce is sold for $1,800. So if you do the calculation, this company will be walking away with 50 million US dollars from the gold sector alone, without adding any value. If you read the statement from the GRA, they claim that this company will be paid on value addition. So if they don't add value, no money will be paid, which is false, because once there is production in the oil sector, once there is production in the gold sector, they are going to be paid. Once people go to lift fuel from depots every day, this company makes money. So if you look at the downstream sector, the upstream sector, and the gold sector, this company should be making over 100 million United States dollars every year. And we are even learning that there are two other contracts that this company has with the GRA to do external price verification and also some price auditing at the ports. So the problem, or what we are losing to this company, may actually be far more than we have put out. We only use conservative figures in our estimation, but it appears to be worse than we. These are just the findings.
Right. Now, Manasseh, let me ask you this. Now, in the course of your work, this particular documentary, did you ever come across, or were you confronted with any piece of evidence to suggest that, for example, the ERDMS gave a figure of, let's say, 300 million liters, but the SML system that had been put in place had a figure of, let's say, 310 million liters, and therefore, but for the SML system, we would have not been able to account for, let's say, 10 million liters. Did you ever come across something like that? Did they ever show you any piece of evidence to suggest that the SML system gave us figures more than what the existing figures produced?
Randy, this is a very good question. And the answer is no. SML actually, in 1 year, our Office of Operation released a statement that said that, look, when we started operating for 6 months, we realized that what we were churning out was conforming with the MPA's figures, which means our system is good. This is a release that is out there. Maybe after this interview, I will send you this report. So you are brought in to check a supposed lapse, and you are now saying that, look, the systems there are good, and what you have seen corresponds with the systems that are there. So it means your system is good. So those existing systems are actually your benchmark for excellence. And the fact that the GRA does not use SML figures to calculate taxes is enough explanation that the existing systems are superior to what SML gives. The only problem that, or the difference that some GRA officials told us between the existing figures and also SML's figures was that the SML meters were actually also calculating inter-depot transfers. So if they are transferring products from Accra Plains Depot in Tema to Chase Petroleum Depot in Tema, the SNO figures counted those ones. So their meters captured those ones. But inter-transfer depot, inter-depot transfers are not products that leave the depot. So maybe you have a depot in Tema, you have another depot in, let's say, Takoradi, and then your product in Takoradi is finished. You want to bring a product from Tema to your depot in Takoradi. Their figures just captures everything without segregating the differences. And the GRA officials say that they make revenue only when petroleum product is lifted from the depots and sold to the consumer. Otherwise, once the product is there, nobody makes any revenue out of it. And two, the problems existed from the lifting to the market. And from the lifting to the market, SML does not play any role. It is the NPA and third-party companies that actually track the lifting, how that it moves, to tell exactly the amount of fuel that is in every tank of the filling stations across the country. You may want to take a visit to the NPA and get to the control of National Command Center, and you would appreciate how robust the systems are. And we spoke to GRA officials who actually said, look, with the ERGMS, we're able to account for the volume, and once we account for the volume, we can account for our revenue. Now, this same GRA issues a statement and they are attributing the success to SML, which in my view raises a number of questions.
Right, we'll get to the GRA statement in a bit, but in the documentary, in relation to extending this particular contract to the upstream sector, you raised the issue of the regulator, the Petroleum Commission, the answers you sought for them invoking the RTI Act, and the questions that you solicited from them. And the impression I got watching the documentary was that the regulator was unaware of the contract, was unaware of the problems that we sought to deal with in the sector.
You are right, Randy. That's the biggest challenge with understanding why the Minister for Finance took that decision. We thought that if you are going to fix something, then it should be broken. If you are providing a solution, then there should be a problem. So, who regulates the upstream sector? The National Petroleum Authority. So we actually wrote to the
Petroleum Commission.
Petroleum Commission. Yes, the Petroleum Authority regulates the downstream sector. So we wrote to the Petroleum Commission asking whether they have identified any leakages or any accidental or deliberate action from any causes that makes us lose revenue in this sector. For which reason we are going to pay so much to a company to assure the revenue. And the regulator says, no, I don't know about this contract we are talking. And I don't know of any problem. We don't have any report of any such problem in the sector. That is where I think the discussion should go. If there is no problem, and then you are taking a company to plug into the system and pay them close to $40 million every single year, then Ken Oforiatta deserves, or Ghanaians deserve answers from Ken Oforiatta. What informed his decision to do this when the regulator, which should have even reported that these are problems in the sector and we need to fix them, is even not aware? And anybody who may have their doubts can speak to players in the industry. There is this propaganda going out there that the cartels that have been exposed by SML are behind us and they are not happy with SML's work to do this. Let me place it on record here, and they haven't said it anywhere. Let me place it on record, and you can ask GRA or SML. SML does not check any company. It has never detected any wrongdoing. So the OMCs that make products and do all manner of things with it, SML has no business with them. SML is not even policing them at all. So it is impossible to say that these OMCs that were giving us so much problems have issues with SML's operation. They don't even know. A lot of them didn't even know that SML existed until we brought out this documentary. So SML is not tackling any of those problems. And if you watch the documentary, they actually admitted that they are not doing them and they deleted. So if you are not, there's no problem in the upstream sector, and then the regulator doesn't know, then we should be asking why someone will sleep, wake up, order the GRA. I've determined that we should expand this, and I've attached a contract. My legal department, the legal department and the Ministry of Finance has reviewed it. Since we signed the initial contract together, go ahead, make inputs and sign when there is no problem.
Now, Manasi, I'm sure that you've seen the statement by SML on your documentary. It's a 14-point statement. They raise issues about, they start by saying that there were a set of misrepresentations, false claims, and a general lack of understanding of the entire operations. They speak about duration of a contract. They say it's 5, not 10. It is not true that they take 100 million annually. They say it's purely a figment of your imagination and it's not factual. And they're saying that it's solely a risk-reward contract. GRA invests nothing in the entire investment chain. There's no commitment cost. They say 31% of the earnings go to GRA as tax. If your work was good intention and professional, you'd have established their investment cost and compared it to earnings to make an informed position. They are challenging you to produce any evidence of wrongdoing in the contract arrangement. Their charging formula is standard in the industry. Their work forms the base data at the depots for revenue assurance and auditing. They go on to the figures, the historical figures and all that, and use that to justify their work. And they say that the ERDM-MS is not adequate and not suitable in giving revenue assurance to the GRA, and that the system was just created for the MPA's operations and it doesn't provide revenue assurance for tax purposes. They speak about how they have installed ultrasonic flow meters to check volumes and all that. Customs, they climb a ladder and they do DP and all those things. And they speak about their expertise. They have people who have up to 25 years expertise from Ghana and America and all that. What's your reaction to the statement from SML?
Well, we saw contract, and I think I forwarded some figures to you.
Yes.
And then we saw 10 years. If it has been reduced to 5 years, that is among them. We wrote for the contract they should publish the documents they have so that we all see. You cannot keep those documents and then be what we had we published. So they haven't told us our documents are fake or whatever, but they should publish what they are referring to. The $100 million, Randy, I have stated how we got them, and in research, you publish your method and anybody can verify. What we said is that this company is paid up to 24 million Ghana cedis a month for the existing contract. In a year, you can multiply and then convert it to US dollars. It's about $20 million if you do your conversion. Then that's a downstream contract. Then if you go to the gold mining contract, we have stated in the documentary how we came by the figures, that we
used last year's figures, production figures, for instance, and we did 3.7 million ounces of gold, and the Ministry of Finance pegged the price this year at $1,800. So if you multiply $1,800 by the 3.7 million ounces, you get about 7 billion and something. If you take 0.75% of that figure, you should be in the range of $50 million in a year. We have stated that the petroleum sector upstream, this company, the contract says they should take $0.75 per barrel of oil that is produced every day. The number of barrels that Ghana produces every day is common knowledge. It's between 160,000 and 170,000, but in our calculation, we even use the conservative 160,000. Anybody at all can just take a calculator and mention or multiply 160,000 by $0.75. The figures will be there. So we are not just saying that, okay, this is how much the company is making as a result of these new additions without explaining how. And the figures we are making reference to are public figures. We took them from the government websites and government books and all of that. So these are real issues. If the SML says that the ERDMS is not adequate, then the question SML and GRA should be asking us is, why are they using the ERDMS to calculate taxes or revenue instead of the SML? The GRA customs system is connected to the ERDMS. It is not connected to SML. So if you are claiming that your system is superior, why is your employer not using what you are churning out, but using that of the SML? So a lot of these, if you talk about the tank gauging, which they now want to make a major point, when we went to Chase Petroleum in Tema, for instance, those entities already have meters there, so that before you even climb the tank to do the gauging, you know how much is in the tank. The NPA was engaged in theirs is even a massive tank gauging system covering the whole country and hundreds of thousands of filling stations or thousands of filling stations. And what they said is this: they are able to sit in their office and tell how much fuel is in each of the tanks at Aveno Shell station, or the Guel station in Bolgatanga, or the Allied filling station in, let's say, Adar Junction. These are systems that the NPA was installing. And what they said, they just needed to just extend it to the depots. The depots are very few, so that they have an end-to-end, knowing what is in the depot filling station. They are able to track every truck that moves to the filling stations across the country, and all of a sudden, they see SML jumping into it. And that's why you hear the NPA CEO, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, saying he considered what was happening potentially duplicitous. So if SML is challenging the efficiency of the ERDMS, you have the customs head of petroleum, Samson Enim, saying in that documentary that with the ERDMS, they are able to get their volumes right. And once you get your volumes right, you get your revenues right. So these are not things we are saying. If you look at the documentary, we didn't make any of those claims. We have officials of customs, officials of the MPA, officials of SML, and other private players saying what was happening. So I don't think that I've gone through the response and it's very empty.
Now, Manasseh, let's go to the GRA response. We've watched the documentary. We've watched the GRA officials. But if you look at the statement issued by the GRA, it is actually saying things that are contrary to what its officials told the Fourth Estate. In fact, they are saying that they restate that the consolidated contract, which is a risk-reward contract, seeks to bring efficiency in revenue assurance services provided to GRA. SML per the contract is required to provide resources for the execution of the contract. By implication, if there is no value addition, SML is not paid. In short, the principle of risk and reward is the fulcrum of the contract. 2, the contract is for 5 years and is performance-based and approved under Section 40 of the PPA Act. The board and management affirmed that all legal and proper processes were followed in procuring the service of SML. SML solely financed the capital expenditures and cutting-edge technology that is employed in the monitoring and auditing services provided to GRA in the downstream petroleum sector. And they say they are confident that with the introduction of various initiatives, technology and revenue assurance measures, such as this, GRA will continue to see a significant increase in revenue, such as the about 50% year-on-year increase in revenue this year. However, they will continue to explore more methods of blocking leakages and increasing compliance to enable us attain a national tax to GDP ratio of over 18%. In fact, this is what they say. And what they say is actually contrary to what the officials told you in the documentary.
You are right, and the officials we went round with are officials from the Petroleum Department of the GRA. Day to day, they are at the depots, they know what is happening, and they said, look, we were even shocked when we heard the claims made by SML. And these officials actually said on record that even without systems such as the SML and the ERDMS and the rest at the depots, it is almost impossible to lose revenue. They talk about value addition, and it isn't true because whatever the company is going to make is not based on value. They are not going to refine the oil we produce. They are not going to refine the gold we produce. They are just going there to so-called monitor. And every liter you consume, every liter of petroleum product you consume, this company has a share in the downstream sector.
Maybe the
upstream,
value,
every barrel we produce, they have a share. Every ounce of gold we produce, they have a share.
Yeah, Manasseh,
So
maybe the
I
value
know what we are talking about.
Yeah, Manasseh, maybe the value addition refers to their work actually adding value to our revenue. That, for example, but for their work, we would have made A, their work is going to add B to A, and therefore that is value addition within the context of revenue generation for the state.
I think that, Randy, I watched Senior Kwesi Pratt say on this show that he's not an expert, but at least he has common sense. I believe GRA officials have common sense, and I believe GRA officials are very competent. I have worked with some of them, and during this documentary, I can see that they are very competent. So the management should at least consider some of these things in the context of common sense and answer this question. Why is it that every year when the Ghana Revenue Authority is setting targets of revenue they are collecting, they project higher, not lower than the previous years? Take from, let's say, 1990 to 2023. Every year when they are doing the projection of the revenues they are going to take for the state, they often say if they project, let's say, 5 million this year, whether or not they meet the target next year, they are going to project 6 or 7 million. In the coming year, they say 10 million. They do this because the economy grows, population grows, and businesses grow. So that every year we are expected to earn more in terms of revenue than the previous years. So if this authority is now telling us that we are going to discount all other factors and that any growth that comes from the sector, we are going to attribute it to this company as its value and pay, that is problematic. If this company goes to monitor and then Tullow does not produce oil, ENI shuts down and all the productions shut down, what value are they going to add? So this company is not adding value. We have Newmont, we have Anglo Gold Ashanti, we have all of those mining companies. If they increase their production capacity, we are going to get more value. We are even told that the Pecan oil field is likely to be developed. And then we are going to have 80 more barrels per day, 80,000 more barrels per day when it is finished. So when others make investment in the sector, common sense tells everybody that the more investment, the more they increase production, the more revenue we are going to make. So the variables that increase the revenue have nothing to do with SML. If we were consuming 10 million liters of petroleum in 2020, and then 2023, we are consuming, let's say, 15 million liters, the common sense argument should be, well, we have more people buying cars, we have more industries coming in, so it is likely that we will have more people consuming petroleum products. That is why people go to take and then sell more. So if they are going to discount everything, including the superior systems that are already in place, the question we should be asking the finance minister is, as we speak, are there no monitorings in the oil production sector and then the gold production sector that ensure that Ghana makes revenue? Yes, we have them. Are they broken? According to the regulators, we have no evidence of anything broken. So why are they moving in there? That is what the finance ministry should be telling us. And I think in all of this, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, should be held to perhaps stricter accountability than even the GRA, because if you read the GRA statement, they said that, look, we were directed by the Ministry of Finance. And this is a ministry that says we should pay e-levy. And what this company will be making a loan from this deal every year is more than the entire e-levy that is collected. It is greater than the budgetary allocations for 19 out of the 27 ministries. What they got in the 2024 budget, what SML will be making in a year as a result of this contract is more than that. So we are not talking about very ordinary figures. So we should be getting perhaps better answers from the finance minister. If it is not broken, why do you want to fix it?
Manas, let me congratulate you and your team. I've watched the documentary about 3 times. I think that is a very, very balanced. All sides have been taken into account. My favorite program on NPR in America was All Things Considered. All things really have been considered. I think that is very balanced. All sides have had the opportunity of speaking to the issues and all that. Congratulations for a great job done. From a journalistic point of view, you've done your bit. But I'm sure that for most Ghanaians, they will ask, what next?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Randy. The what next question should come from the special prosecutor. It should come from the Parliament of Ghana, which says it would look into this. It should come from the President of the Republic of Ghana, who told us that he wasn't coming to steal our money and that he was coming to ensure that these leakages were stopped. Ghanaians are watching. President Akufo-Addo, there is evidence that over 100 million US dollars is going to go out to a company, and there is evidence that this company does not add any value, and the systems are already in place to check. So if he's going to sit down for this to happen, and we have old men and women who have served this nation diligently, and when they are on retirement, they can't even access their bonds, their own savings, and they have to picket. Some have to struggle to go to dialysis and all of that. If we have a president with conscience watching on, and these monies are going out, I think he should stand up and say no. As for this deal, let's discontinue it and save the nation money. Otherwise, there is a saying that openitna fiena oshemo from owe nanka ne kan nanka wefo ye kind of come. So if he watches them to eat the forbidden meat, and we are counting the eaters of forbidden meat, we cannot exclude him. There is enough evidence. And if he does not believe in what we have put out, even with all the voices and the opinions and the input from GRA, MP, and others, he should commission a team to speak to players in the industry. The BDCs, the OMCs, a lot of them are reaching out to me and saying, look, you've done a good job. This company is just taking money for nothing. But the system is so vindictive that if we go out to support you, we will be victimized. If the president is minded to know the truth, he will. And at least this country should be given some modicum of hope, because you have young people leaving this country desperately. Some have no jobs, and we aren't too poor to at least afford dialysis machines in our hospitals. It is because the hundreds of millions that will go into the provision of healthcare are diverted somewhere, and then the average person who falls sick would have to struggle. I had to bring my father from Bolga to Accra to get an MRI scan because there's no MRI scan in the whole of northern Ghana, MRI machine. So we had to bring him here. And when we had to even do surgery, we had to wait. We got dates, they cancelled and all of us. We eventually had to go back without doing the surgery. The reality in our system is so dire that when you find these monies going out, it isn't about Manasseh doing journalism. It is about life and death. And we have a president, if we have a president who swore to protect our interest, this is the time for him to act.
Manasseh, thank you very much for waking up this early and for having this discussion with us. We're most grateful, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so we'll take a break. When we return, the members of parliament, like they say in Twi Mwasempa.
So many styles to choose, but there's only one sure way to pay.
Momo? Yes. Oh, yes.
Got a payment to make? Just Momo it.
MTN.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambedu.
Good afternoon, Mr. Asari.
How is business doing?
My business is collapsing.
Why is your business collapsing?
I sold my products and services to my clients on credit, and my debtors are not paying their debt.
Have you heard of Rosic Consult Limited, a debt recovery company operating in all the 16 regions of Ghana?
Not at all.
Mr. Ambedu, all you need to do is to contact them on their customer service recovery managers. You are assured of swift debt recovery. No recovery, no commission. For Rosic Consult Limited, no more write-offs. And we pre-finance the recovery ourselves.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful Endpoint one?
Chesena me ankasa me problem na say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra me enu hofo kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko endpoint o mama nunu a ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's endpoint for you. Hello. Hey, ohwehwe what che. Okay. A free bra with the endpoint what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Joseph say my name koye and person na my me nyina na magina sabema na me be fear for there e ho de nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. Endpoint is my secret. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ikropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ikropong right after the Latte Junction, or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the He.
To help meet your business and private printing needs successfully, we have just the right products and services. At Appointed Time Printing Limited, we specialize in digital printing, offset printing, packaging and security printing. Our innovative designs and complete professional touch on our print products such as posters, flyers, brochures, magazines, whole cards and any other print solution of your choice is a solution.
We are back bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two. With
Number 9 market.
To ensure mom and dad about the Maker's Blessing Attack program.
From 0552 222 253 and 0552 222 254. Terms and conditions apply. The same
Pascal is showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased. But now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that he hired a security goat to protect the data shed. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded to cloud storage yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have the Honorable Kofi Adams and the Honorable Dixon Adomako Kisi. What does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, it's got the Mola, got the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the Game Park Games app on Play Store. You can also play on their website at www.gameparkgames.com or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Shall we make we play this game and make some moolah? Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. Game Park Games, more moolah, more power. This game is regulated by a National Lottery Authority and is not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. And charcoal has essential medicinal properties that help remove toxins from our bodies. The natural absorptive property of charcoal helps to remove the bacteria that produces bad breath in the mouth, hence giving you a fresh breath. Kel Charcoal toothpaste has been formulated and produced under strict hygienic conditions with all the necessary production protocols and has been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. Constant use of Kel Charcoal toothpaste gives you a good fresh breath, whiter teeth, reduces dental plaque, makes the gum healthy and strong, prevents cavity, upset stomach, hangover, and so on. Kel Charcoal toothpaste is recommended for adults and children from 6 years. As for white teeth and fresh breath all day long, and it's another quality product from Samara Company Limited. Kel Charcoal toothpaste, happy smile. And Christmas is just around the corner. Okay, and then after that, school will reopen. And of course, there will be the MPP parliamentary primaries. So wherever you are, whatever you do, wherever you go, drink Angel Cola, your key to enjoyment. Ready for something refreshing, great tasting with excellent flavors. So now you've got varieties to choose from. Angel Orange for that special occasion, Angel Mango, Angel Peach, refresh your mood, Angel Apple Lime. Angel Drinks produce vitality and maintain fluid in normal balance. Angel Drinks, refreshing, invigorating, and exciting. Angel Drinks are produced by Adonko Soft Drinks Beverages Limited. Angel Drinks taste like our day, and this is recommended for all, including children. And you can reach Adonko Soft Drinks Beverages Limited on 0244-832286 and 0507878668. The Makers Electronics Blessing Attack promo is on. Rush now to Makers Electronics Company Limited for up to 67% discount on selected appliances from brands such as Samsung, LG Moved, NASCO, TCL, Media, and Toshiba, with numerous awards including Outstanding Customer Service Company of the Year and Responsible Electronics Company of the Year. Makers Electronics have quality but affordable home appliances and consumer electronics with 2 years manufacturer defect warranty. So visit the showrooms of Makers Electronics at Taifa Burkina Highway, Amasaman Zongo Junction, Oyari Fatema and Boga Junction, Kaswa New Market, Ashiaman Valco Flat, Kumasi Ahinima Kokobin, and Takrady Fikuma number 9 Market. You can also call them on 055-2222253 or 055-2222254. The Makers Electronics are large and in charge of quality but affordable home appliances and consumer electronics. Terms and conditions do apply. And if you like to be up the hill around a Brie or a Crouton, just like me, you need to be speaking to Kingdom Home Real Estate. They provide quality but affordable housing facilities for sale. The facilities are located at the serene environments of Ekwapime, Crouton, and Brie. Of course, you know the weather conditions there. And it's just 30 minutes drive from Accra. And they provide a modern touch of comfort. They also provide high standard security service, plus CCTV, standby generators, constant water supply, and electricity. And they're surrounded by lovely tourist sites such as the Brie Botanical Garden, Boti Falls, Safari Valley Resorts, etc. Just pay 70% up front and spread the remaining 30% over a 2-year period with no interest payment. You can locate the Bree properties close to the Bree Girls School and the Cropon properties right after Latte Junction. You can reach them on 0559-761-144 or 0555-621-611. Visit their websites at www.kingdomhomerealestate.com or check out their Facebook page. Honorables, well, Kofi, you are on public accounts.
Yes, both of us are on public accounts.
Oh, great. Annie, thank you. And and Kofi, you have been on the BOST board before, so you are a bit familiar with these things, whether it's from the downstream sector or it is from the point of view of revenue assurance and of course public audits and all that. What do you make of this documentary by Fourth Estate and the responses by SML and GRA?
Randy, I want to start by commending the Fourth Estate for this documentary. But whilst commending them for this documentary, Randy, I weep for this country. And especially for the generation that sacrifice their best to help in building this country, either through their knowledge or through their funds that they made available to develop this country and to move us to the next stage, who today, Randy, are suffering and not getting their little contributions that they made, that we put together with the hope of transitioning us to the next level, which we have failed. Randy, we've not been able to pay these persons back their investments because we are told revenue that should come to the state, we're no longer getting it as expected. And so we cannot honor some of our bills, some of the bonds and monies we collected from these persons, aside the taxes that we collected to develop our country. Old ladies, old men, sick persons, persons who have gone on pension, Randy, have to pick it days on end to demand for the finance minister to even engage them, to give them assurance that their funds, their bonds would not be touched. But today, they've all been given one haircut or the other, even after the assurances that that was not going to happen. Only for us, Randy, to now have these levels of revelations that monies that is collected as revenue that should have come to the state is being paneled and fanned off and given to private entities for doing absolutely nothing. Randy, I fear for the younger generation, especially the younger ones who sometimes wake up in the morning and are defending this level of what? Thievery. I will not mean well. It's clear thievery. Nothing is being done. As someone puts it, it's like this studio. You want to keep it at a certain temperature. So, Randy, you have fixed air conditioners to give you that temperature. Then someone signs up a deal with another person that come with Papa, fan, and come and be fanning the room and be reading the temperature. So at the end of the day, you will say, okay, the temperature is at 17 degrees Celsius, so I should be paid for fanning the room. Meanwhile, the person has exerted zero to keeping that temperature at that acceptable level that you want it. That is what this whole SML deal with Ministry of Finance and GRA is about. Randy, like you rightly said, I've had a stint with the area of petroleum, at least its movement, losses and challenges. Bust was more like the public company that was storing products both for the state and some private entities. Way back, we had moved from the dipstick system to electronic readers, because even APD, when they were using the dipstick and that of the Kumasi depot, the private companies were moving away from Bust to the private ones because they were using electronic readers. No OMC or importers wanted to dump their products with Bust. So under the Kwame Ewua's administration, we transitioned from dipstick system to electronic readers, so that it didn't matter the topography of your depot sites, you will get the appropriate and correct volumes. Before even then, a policy of zonalization was introduced so as to reduce movement of products in the name of sending them to the Sahelian regions, but moving it to maybe depots or OMCs within Accra. So there was this zonalization policy that if you were sending, you could only load to certain areas in Kumasi and beyond from the Kumasi depot. And you could only load also to maybe Volta region, Eastern region from some depots, and Western region from other depots. And that is why, as a company Bust, we worked seriously to maintain our line from APD to Akosombo, so we could move products to Akosombo and use the water system to transport it to Debre. And from Debre, you could store it in the depots that we have up north. So movement into the Sahelian region was not going to be a challenge. Then NPA also came with a system that it was better for us to have census. So all these systems, Randy, commenced prior to 2016, and truly they continued with the program and had it implemented. So the issue of moving products from depots meant for Sahelian regions for which taxes will not be paid, but it finds itself in oil marketing companies that are Ghanaian run and Ghanaian owned ceased. And that was what the ERDM system also came to reinforce. When GRA and MPA appeared before us, Public Accounts Committee, they admitted to these challenges in the past and gave clear indication subsequently that that problem has clearly been solved. And this was even before they had this deal with SML. Then GRA, Randy, further introduced a new system by moving from the UNIPAS to the ICAMS system, the Integrated Custom Management System, which plugged all of them on just one page. And Randy, GRA has publicly come out to say that revenue assurances and revenue increased by over 30% as a result of the ICAMS system. They themselves, per their own utterances, per their own statement, they never associated this to any SML. And it's so clear that the SML is doing absolutely nothing. Where they are positioned, where they are placed, that is not where the problem is. And truly so, like the expose, GRA have relied on data from the ERDMS to calculate the revenues that they charge these oil marketing companies.
That's what the GRA petroleum unit people said in the documentary. Yeah. But the GRA itself, in its statement, is saying something else. The interesting thing, you see, and that's the point yesterday with Bembuachi, today with Manasseh. That's the key point that keeps coming. All what officialdom is doing is to tell us about an increase in year-on-year revenue. As to whether, you see, I would, like the question I posed yesterday and today to Manasseh, this is the current system. It recorded 300. What we have brought in for the revenue assurance recorded 305. And so by bringing in this thing, this 5, otherwise this 5 would have
been lost.
And so this is the gain. But if you are simply saying that last year we recorded revenue of X, this year we recorded revenue of Y, and therefore we are attributing the increase in revenue to this very issue, when the data shows that over a 10-year period, over a 20-year period, every year there is an increase in terms of the volumes.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you. So Randy, it tells you clearly that this GRA statement should be treated with the contempt it deserves.
I mean, you can choose to be untruthful. I don't have a problem, but excuse me, you can't choose to treat me as if I'm an idiot.
Yeah. That's what they are seeking to do. Forgetting, Randy, like you said, consumption volumes would necessarily go up because population is increasing.
The historical data
supports that. 2, you have had taxes reviewed.
Yeah.
The EXLA has been reviewed to introduce more efficiencies. You have introduced pollution and so-called sanitation taxes also. So necessarily, the revenue that will come from the petroleum sector will increase. And you can
even in terms of volumes, you have an increase in fleet.
Exactly.
Vehicles come into the country, consumption and all that.
Will go up. So you cannot just issue a statement and tell me that, oh, this is how much the revenue was last year, and this is how much it is this year.
You know, so if you watch the documentary again, they were asked directly, in the course of your work, have you identified any under invoicing, any? They said no.
They said, yeah, of course.
They said no. Yet we believe that they've done such a sterling job that we now must expand the tentacles into upstream petroleum and gold. And give them 0.75% and 0.575 cents of a dollar on every ounce and every barrel.
Randy.
So,
clearly, like I started, I said I weep for persons who have contributed strongly and sacrificed for this country. And what has come out is, for me, clear thievery. And all of us, all Ghanaians, must be so angry. If you are not angry after this expose, Randy, then I don't know what you are waiting for again to be angry with the system. Look, there are persons, and I'm happy the medical doctor is here with me, the honorable member for Anya Surutu. Go to our hospitals, and Randy, look at the services that we are rendering people. People are dying because of the absence of simple pressure checking kits.
Kofi, don't go far. Just 2 months ago, because of 4 million Ghana cedis,
we have to close
Ghana cedis,
the renal unit.
The renal unit was closed. How many people died? 15. 15 people died. Over 4 million Ghana cedis. 15 people died.
And
because none of them was a politician,
it didn't.
A minister or an MP or a top CEO or something. 15 people died. 4 million Ghana cedis.
Randy, the situation is so bad that you go to health facilities and common pressure checking kits is unavailable. And we are funneling all this into private pockets monthly for no work done. 24 million Ghana cedi for the downstream, and we are adding upstream. They have not shown any capacity. They themselves could not even tell us what work it is that they have done for which they are taking the pay. And we sit here, and GRA, you want to come and defend this? We are no fools. For God's sake, we are no fools. This is clear TV. Ghanaians, you don't need anything more. Because every other day, Westerns keep coming. Sometimes we thought the mistakes were only in attempting to build a cathedral at the time we needed many other things. But not knowing that our revenues is being funneled away, is being taken away left, right, center. Randy, I'm lost of words to describe what it is we are going through. And the worst part is that, you know, this deal, the MD of the SML, who himself was a controller and accountant general at certain time of
during President Kufuor's
time, 2005 to about 2009, and became a consultant and advisor,
technical advisor to the
GRA boss. At the time they were cooking this, they were cooking this deal. So they finished cooking it, then he resigns as technical advisor and consultant to go and manage this thing. Clearly, what more do you need? Ghanaians, what more do we really need? To be angry. And you move around and we have terrible roads that sometimes just need $1 million to fix. You have this assembly common fund that is in serious arrears. So nothing is happening in the districts. But with sources, areas where we can get enough revenue to be able to deal with needs of the people,
in fact, President Kufuor was right. He really knew what he was talking about when he said that that's why I come here.
But the unfortunate, that's true, because a lot of things have really been done to build our revenue base. Randy, not forgetting about new oil funds that we have found, not forgetting about the Ghana Gas Company that has been established, that was saving us a lot of money, not forgetting about revenue streams like the ESLA and what have you that had been introduced, not forgetting about massive expansion of our transport system, i.e. Kotoka International Airport, the Tema Port, the Takoradi Port expansion. So a lot has been done.
You guys sit in Parliament, for example. Look at, if you take this year's budget, for many people don't know, I was speaking with my insurance broker just 2 days ago. He told me, Randy, from next year, with what the finance government brought in has been approved on your insurance, whether it's property or your car and everything, you're going to pay 17.5% VAT on top. Whether it's third party, so the trot taxi drivers and others. If the third party they buy is 500 cedis or 700 cedis, from next year you are putting 17.5%. Not just 7, it's over 20 something percent.
And
VAT on the third party insurance, the comprehensive insurance, all kinds of insurance, over 20 something percent VAT from January. They'll start paying all that.
And Randy, it's not just even that.
And we say that it's because we want revenue. We want revenue. We want revenue. And this is how we spend
the revenue. Not just bring it into the national kitty and utilize it on projects, but then
the same thing is about happening with property tax.
Yes.
We're always finding ways of bringing in this so-called private sector efficiency.
And many assemblies, starting with some in Ashanti region, demonstrated against that private person they were into, because according to them, they have not received a peswa since the introduction of that private persons. And for many of them also, their revenue levels have dropped. And the worst part is that they want the assemblies to train their people, use their people to collect that revenue, and somebody is just sitting somewhere and taking his or her percentage.
That's what is happening. They will stand on the infrastructure and everything.
And the state is going to pay these revenue persons at the assembly. After they have collected, it goes to these private companies. They deduct even before they now pass on to the state what they want to pass on.
Anyway, Doc, let me bring you in.
Well,
we've reached Ivy League levels.
Well, I think the key thing here, from my end, is that I'm troubled. I have to admit that looking at the documents that I have, which I don't have all of it, but the few that I have looked at, the key thing that comes to mind is justification. This is more of a financial architectural work. That's what I would call this. And I'm curious as to the best way to justify the payments that are being made to this, let me say, maybe quality assurance company. Quality assurance or revenue assurance is very important. It is one of the key things that the country lacks. And when I say quality or financial assurance, I'm talking about, one, the ability to collect the appropriate revenue, and then the ability to make sure that it actually goes into the appropriate funds. And this is clearly a call for an increase in transparency and accountability. And I think that based on what I'm looking at and from my experience in governance, I think there's more that we need to peruse. Azuri, I would commend him. He's brought something to light. Granted that the vehicles or conduits for managing a lot of the oil, or shall I say minerals sector, is very complicated. It's a very complex thing. And I think that what this really calls for is that we definitely need a firm legal mindset for contracting within that sphere. If not, Ghana would always lose. And we've already lost a lot. Some have perused through the oil agreements we did, and the royalties we bequeathed to the country and to other individual actors, and are deeply troubled. Because let me say that there are people who have not been on site anywhere, whether Buidam or whatever, and are benefiting from the toil and sweat of the ordinary laborers. And this goes back to even the NDC era. I'm talking from Kufuor 2008 to date. And I think that it is very important that we're careful, one, in making judgment, two, in driving home the need to improve on our skill set as a country in terms of those who broker these arrangements and deals. I think that this deal, to a large extent, needs to be further interrogated. And from a public account standpoint, we need that justification for these expenditures. And more importantly, if you want to continue something, you even still need to justify it. And if the justifications are not there, what it calls for is either we rescind, cancel, or reduce the amount of fees or charges. Especially when this is not a case of maybe additional equipment to either measure, quantify the drop-off in terms of quantity or quality of the fuel that we churn out. I think, yes, absolutely, further justification is required, and maybe GRA, I think, has to, even with what I've read, I think the country may require or should require that further better particulars to this come out. And I'm even more so troubled by the headlines in terms of when they said they were saving the country money, which is rather a misnomer from what we are looking at, because I don't know how you save the country 3 billion and rather take, I don't know, I'm still at a loss with regards to that, because based on the facts of the matter, they are not of.
In fact, you know the funny thing.
An additional value.
You know the funny thing. In the GRA's statement, they tell us about 3 billion. They amplify the 3 billion thing for SML. If you read the documentary, you watch the MD. He said that I disagree with the publication. I told them to tell them to. Well, we don't know anything about it. Then it's pointed out to him that, Master, even this morning, your own website. You know, as for me, I don't know anything about websites. But irrespective of all these things, the GRA is reiterating that 3 billion figure. The person you attribute that success to disagrees with it.
So I think that one misquotes.
That's monkey town business.
And definitely this needs further review. And I know when these things happen right away, people who actually know very little, maybe even trying to remedy and save the day. I don't want to be caught up in that kind of a situation where I know little. I mean, I don't want to, as it is. They state some very key things about GRA: integrity, fairness in service. And I don't, as a member of parliament, want to be misquoted when I don't have the entirety of the facts in front of me. But from what I've looked at, I think that more justification is required. $3 billion is no small money. One of my wonderful projects, the Agenda 111, is about $10 million. And
the facility.
That is so how many of those? I mean, with this we could have built.
No. If you look at the projections of a possible 100 million, that's like 10 hospitals in a year.
Both lower and upstream, the down and upstream.
So I think that this one. Pardon me, all Ghanaians. I'm talking from a nationalistic point of view. That this is troubling, and I'm not looking at this necessarily as an MPP NDC thing, and also I would also beg that we are a bit careful, because I mean sometimes these mining minerals industry deals or contracting has several layers, and until you're really into it to understand why, because if you look at even the insurance they pay for the oil rigs. Sometimes it's crazy, and you query yourself that but the insurance, I mean, but these are legal requirements, that they need to do. And then for all for insurance purposes, they have to have this additional layer of review. I can't speak for finance ministry on this one, So if there's a reason, a rationale for the duplication of work, to either assure your insurance companies that, oh, you're doing everything to the T, or to either assure your investors that you're doing everything to the T.
Two things
it's like buying double.
Look, two things stand out. Two things stand out, and I find that extremely important. So you have the finance ministry sitting somewhere.
Yes.
Now they are dealing with regulated sectors. So you have a downstream regulator, which is the MPA, and you have your upstream regulator, which is the Petroleum Commission.
Yeah.
If you watch the documentary,
yeah,
with respect to what is existing,
which is
the
adequate.
MPA boss is saying that he finds the thing kind of duplicitous, and they would want to sit with the people to understand what it is at this time of the day.
Yeah.
So you would ask, what is it that went through the thinking, the rationale behind the need for such a contract, a service to be provided?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
When you have a situation where the downstream regulator himself says that, well, at least from where I see it, I find it kind of duplicitous. But in any case, I'm prepared to sit with the people so that we can really find out. At the time when the contract is in existence and is being worked on.
He was probably not consulted.
So, and then the second part is that you have a new one which has been sent to the PPA
for
approval. It's been done. The regulator of the upstream
has not
says that, one, I am unaware.
Yeah.
Two, I'm unaware of a contract. Two, I'm unaware of any leakages
that requires
that will require something like this.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, those two things must tell you that there is something fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. So I think the in this case, that's why I'm saying that one.
And if you look at the directive for GRA, we have done a contract. This is the contract. Give it to your legal department to review it and go ahead and deal with it.
So I think powers that need to be checked in the sense that this truly is critical, and I think also reduce the government's revenue to an extent. And I'm really for maybe one. The first thing is a review downwards, if possible, of this arrangement. But then the justification might come out later. There are many things in the oil industry that will not make sense to a lot of us. But that's the beauty of the oil industry. I mean, and I think that we need to do more service to the country. One, in terms of engaging the populace to help them appreciate some of the nuances of contracting within the energy sector, and I think that the key thing here is how we justify this, how we show that the transaction is as transparent, and then there's value for money for what we're doing, and if really this is to offset some insurance requirement, sometimes you do those things to assure either your investors or your insurance brokers that you have the fail safe checks in the system. So I would hesitate to make judgment on this, except for the fact that what this clearly means is that we need to further peruse and make justification for this. But it's a lot of money. Whether we like it or not, I mean, it's a lot of money, and I'm sure there's some appropriate justification, and I don't know what we'll consider in the next foreseeable 2 weeks. Some shifts may happen in terms of government decision on this, and I would hope that. The experts in accounting within the mining industry, the lawyers within the mining industry will come out and make some pronouncement. I worry because, I mean, sometimes out of ignorance we make some comments. That is what I don't want to do. I'm very careful in terms of my limited knowledge. With regards to minerals and upstream or downstream contracting, and this one there is almost like pleading the fifth where you recuse yourself from making comments.
So sometimes in situations like this, you're sometimes excited that you have limited knowledge. Because if this is superior knowledge, then you better not have it.
Clearly, well, let me appreciate Beth. Doc has capacity and everything to analyze this deal.
Let's allow him. It's 4 days to Christmas.
He is not an expert.
It's 4 days. It's 4 days to Christmas. Let's allow him.
But so clearly,
his primaries is in 37 days.
Clearly, Randy, if DRA had any further information to provide, I can tell you, in this response, they would have said it.
Oh, there's more.
Clearly,
there's more.
They are telling you, we followed due process. Yes, you wrote for sole sourcing.
Yes.
Under what circumstance were you writing for sole? There are conditions under which you go for what? Sole sourcing.
Exigency.
Either expertise that you cannot get from anywhere, emergency situation.
In fact, they are relying on the expertise. They will be relying on the expertise. The expertise in quotes. Hold on. The expertise in quotes achieved during the duration of the initial contract to make a justification for the expansion of the scope.
Well, even so for the first one,
something in tree they call the job.
So for the first one that you went for sole sourcing, that the company's SML
they are
first
not answering
client,
you that
first client
they are not answering
is DRA.
But check the SML. Check the SML statement. Classic pick and choose. They pick and choose what to questions to ask themselves, how to answer it. In fact, framing the question, whether that's exactly what the documentary said or not.
Randy, look, I am worried, and I know Doc will equally be worried, that anytime we have headline news on matters such as this that cannot be properly answered, is in huge figures. Look, Cocoa Board, for example, decided that they were going to audit cocoa roads. Spent $10 million.
They say it's not true.
To date,
they said they didn't spend up to
not a single well. We have been demanding reports. He's aware, he's a member of the Public Accounts Committee. I have requested for that report. They have given us assurances. I have checked from our clerk. I have checked from the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. To date, they haven't even submitted that report. The former Agric Minister kept claiming that, oh, he's brought it to Parliament. The clerk to Parliament has not been able to produce any report on this. Our chief whip and former ranking for Roads and Transport Committee have been asking for this report. It has never come. If you didn't spend, how much did you spend? Bring a report of findings for us to see that some work was done. Nothing has happened. $10 million, it went into waste. Do you remember?
They said they didn't spend.
Do you remember? Well, so prove to us. Do you remember PDS deal?
Yes.
That they collected so much and have done nothing. And in that day was where our own Vice President changed all kinds of condition precedent to conditions post the contract, change all the things that are supposed to be fulfilled in terms of bank guarantees to now insurance guarantees. We ended up losing so much to PDS till date. Our money they collected have not been refunded to the state. Have you forgotten about Ameri Innovation deal where the president said he was misled?
He didn't say that. The Statesman newspaper said the
president was that's misled. What we read. The president.
I'm saying that. The Baku will say precision. It is the Daily Statesman newspaper that published that said that the president was misled.
And this is a paper that is so close to the president.
You can say that.
This is a paper that is so close to the president.
No, you can say that. That he once put.
How was he misled? So many losses would have been occasioned there. I just mentioned the issue of cathedral. How we sourced architects, how we have spent monies that we have not reported appropriately, that today almost all men of God, including those who put their integrity online for this cathedral, have to resign and run away because the stench was too much for them and they have to leave. Of course, now we are dealing with the SML and the GRA and Ministry of Finance, another deal again. And anytime we are talking about these deals, huge figures that can solve many problems.
To think that a song was composed over 52 million Ghana cedis.
52 million Ghana cedis. 52
million Ghana cedis.
Look, late Jifa Ativo, may her soul rest in perfect peace, who even resigned because it happened under her ministry, even though she 3 million Ghana cedi for branding of buses that were branded. We made all kinds of noise.
The company refunded, they were made to refund money.
Look, judgment debt of 52 that was paid when we made that they made so much recently. The Trafigura deal, we have paid close to 250.
We are supposed to pay. We've paid 20 something now.
Yes, $250 million, and we have paid only over a little over $20 million
overseas.
Look at that. So the money is there, and we are just sitting, doing nothing, and creating situations where we are just paying debts. This is the proper yetisikaso I come there. Because a lot of work what was that? Why? The timekeeper is here. I just want to add.
I'm going to finish with you guys on the EC and District Assembly elections.
A lot of work. For example,
I'm reading that a lot happened on the floor yesterday in the papers. So.
Let me just give you one example. When BOST under Kwame Uwadaku, we decided to contract TSL. There was it's a strategic investor in the industry to manage the APD systems for us. We knew the figures we were doing with our systems, and then we knew the new figures that have come in as a result of the operation.
So you were comparing systems.
We were comparing systems.
Not revenue
not revenue increases. No. Because we knew that revenue will necessarily increase, because from time to time you go and ask for increasing in your charges.
I mean, if your revenue increases because you have new tax handles, how do you pay somebody as a result of that increase? If your volumes increase because there are a lot more vehicles or a lot more need for the use of petroleum products, how do you ascribe that increase
it's a software.
to revenue software? So the software increased my fleet and therefore my fuel consumption.
No, it's a scam. It's software billing.
Are you aware of a company called Aluex?
Yes, but I'm saying that it's software billing. Software billing, like Microsoft, is based on the number of computers you put on. Yes. I'm just trying to let you know that there are some billings that are like that.
No, but this is not a billing system.
This is not a billing system. We are not dealing with a billing system.
Dr. Kisi knows exactly what we're talking about.
He's not been worried this morning.
By the grace of God, you'll be successful in your primaries.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think you think I'm mute because of that.
Oh no.
But I'm being careful.
No, I mean,
fine. And the other thing too is that sometimes, let me say that, on your show, interestingly, I've made very potent, powerful statements that have been misquoted. So I'm very careful.
You are misrepresented
in my words.
Okay.
And this is not the time to go and give a headline.
That's fine. You see, look,
you are applying wisdom. I appreciate it.
Doctor, you know. No. I can never understand this. You introduce an ERDMS. You are working with it from 2018. It has resulted in some levels of improvement.
Yes.
Then in 2020, you commence the process of what? The ICAMs.
Yeah.
So having introduced the ICAMs again, don't you wait to apply these two systems?
But let me ask you a question. Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The margins that go to MPA.
Yeah.
The margins that go to
hasn't
MPA.
Changed.
Are they not as a result of volumes?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it not volume times something that gives
Yes, that gives them. Yes.
So how is it possible that the MPA will put in place a system
that
not only deals with quality, but also deals with ensuring that the right thing
is done for them to gain?
And even put in place a system where if you have not paid the taxes, you cannot even load and all that. And yet we say that somebody has brought something which is
magical.
No. So it should just tell you clearly.
I always say that. I mean, I don't lose anything accepting the fact that
you want to do something.
I'm not an Ivy League person, but please
don't make us
look like we are
major
league. Not Ivy League. You know, Azuri is an Ivy League now. You know, Harvard. But anyways, I was surprised you didn't comment about the cold weather. It's quite cold by now. I lived about 30 miles from Harvard.
Okay.
In Connecticut, so it's cold at this point in time.
I wait for Ghana.
So, Govi, I'm reading that there's quite interesting stuff. You Parliament approved the EC's budget, but I think coming up with approval had to do also raise the issues of some reforms that the EC wants to bring and all that, and it appears that both sides were in unison over your views on the EC and all that. And I see that some papers have also told us that they say there's a certain group B who claim that NPPs beat NDC in the assembly elections.
It's a non-partisan deal, so I don't know why.
Well, I'm happy I'm on set with an MPP member of Parliament also, who is coming from a constituency. He knew from his constituency, if we want to use that as an example, and mine as an example as a yardstick, he knew the numbers of persons affiliated to NDC who won elections in 2019 and persons who won in 2023. In my constituency, the MPP constituency chairman, the MPP constituency organizer, the MPP Oti regional director of communication, all of whom were incumbents, lost to NDC affiliated persons. And this is happening all through. In Greater Accra here, apart from Tema Central and I think Ablekumanov, that MPP affiliated person beat NDC affiliated by about 2 or 3. In all the other 32 constituencies of the 34 in Greater Accra, the NDC affiliated person led. And so you can be tickling yourself somewhere and talking about you leading. We don't really care about that. When you start facing the reality, you would know whether your front pages that you got will do the. But Electoral Commission, you see, this commission is noted for doing things that are illegal. They did it in 2020 and they got away with it. In the case of SAR.
Okay.
They have repeated it in also these district level elections.
What did they do?
You see, you came to Parliament for a law to be passed for you, what we call the Public Elections Regulation 2020 CI 127. And in it, it stated very clearly under voting, that is section 33 2C, a mark which shall so far as possible be permanent shall be made on the voter. And that is where the indelible mark is talked about, because your law says
this has not been amended.
This has not been amended.
Is the current
this is the current LI.
Okay.
This is the current CI operating as far as elections is concerned. 127. You haven't amended this, but through administrative fiat.
Like SAR.
Like SAR. She decided that we are not going to use indelible ink because
she gets away with
it. She gets away with it. Look, when they appeared before us, she was doing some kind of calculation that, well, they did limited registration. At the time they did it in 2020, they got a little over 11 million registering with Ghana cards, and the rest registering through guarantor system. And that subsequent to that registration, the National Identification Authority have added another 8 million on their data. In her thinking, that 8 million should have produced at least the 1 million that registered recently, and that the issue of more than 60% coming in to register without Ghana card was an arrangement to introduce otherwise unqualified persons.
So the 8 million new Ghana card people could not have been part of the 11 million.
Exactly the question I asked her, that these 8 million that have been registered, majority of them are part of this,
at the time I registered, I didn't have.
It's part of the 6 million who registered in 2020 and didn't have Ghana card then. So they have registered all right with you. They didn't have Ghana card at the time they did, but now they have moved on to go and register for the Ghana card. So you don't conclude.
But technology and data should even be able, if you indeed want to do a thorough job.
You can easily check, those who registered in the 8 million who already have what? Voter ID card. But they decide not to check, but they just spew out. Now, oh, this should have happened. That should have happened. Meanwhile, she admitted herself that it is very, very possible for Ghanaians who qualify to register and who would have loved to present themselves to register not to have had their Ghana card at the time they would have been doing their registration. So she knows if she decides to do just that, she will disenfranchise a lot of Ghanaians. That we disagree with her. We equally disagree with her
both sides.
On both sides. Okay. On this indelible ink thing. And she clearly have realized that.
And when you pointed out the law to her, what did she say?
Well, she hasn't done anything.
It was done on the floor.
And what are you going to do when it is obvious to everybody that the Electoral Commission has breached the law? What are you going to do?
Well, now we have agreed that every quarter the Electoral Commission must have engagement with the Special Budget Committee of Parliament, which normally approves the funding for such constitutional bodies, including the Electoral Commission.
No, when a CI is breached by a constitutional body, because you see, this same constitutional body enforces a CI, which in some cases even takes away a constitutional right of a person. Now, if they breach the CI, this was not imposed on them.
They brought it.
They elected themselves that this should be made law, and they decide to breach it. What happens?
There will be consequences.
Gazetted signed by Mrs. Jane Mensah, Chairman of the Electoral Commission. Date of Gazette notification 2nd July 2020. Entry into force 6 August 2020. So she signed this and decided to defy it. Just like the same thing she did in the case of SAL, that she signed, and she decided to just ask them that no, you won't vote for parliamentary. And so clearly now we're going to be serious on her. We're going to insist
that you agree that you guys haven't been that
well, I think that
enough.
I think that we've not been serious enough.
Okay.
We've allowed her to go. We've allowed her to just go because people have taken a certain entrenched political position and not looking at what it is she's doing that could damage all of us. Look, the BVD devices didn't work effectively on the 19th of December, district level election.
There were issues.
You go to places where you could not be verified. So her claim that because the BVD machines will work so well, so you don't need indelible ink, fell flat. Because many persons were manually verified. Your law still allows for manual verification. So why do you go ahead to have so much confidence in machines that you knew could not even function on that day? And so clearly,
so should the ink be used for those who are manually verified?
So it should be used for everybody because it it gives assurances to persons standing by that there will be no issue of challenge whether you have voted or you haven't voted because the ink will show. Because as for machine, anything.
I don't have a problem if you think that you've instituted measures which renders this redundant. Just do the right thing.
Randy, unfortunately, those measures that she claimed did not work.
No, you don't get my point. I'm saying that I am prepared.
I agree with you
to accept because that's what changed there. But do the right thing.
I perfectly agree with you that look, if our system, the BVD machines were working effectively, I would not have any problem with that. But clearly, we know. And we knew that this was going to happen, and it's been demonstrated on the issue of closing polls by 3 p.m. also. Well, proposition that sounded good from her point that she's trying to raise for early counting, but you haven't proven to us that, we have a circle of people coming to the police stations early in the morning and post 3. So if you say you are going to close polls by 3, it will affect those who want to go and do something before coming to the post. Because it's not everybody who want to come in the morning. Some will want to come in the morning and go and do something in the afternoon. Others will want to go and do something in the afternoon and in the morning and come in the afternoon. And they usually will be reporting between 3 and 4 to be able to catch the 5 p.m. time. You cannot be recommending, especially when even in this voting system, Randy, they couldn't start on time.
And
I was at my police station.
Hall issue.
Yeah. This is not a banking hall issue. This is not a banking hall issue, and we are going into a general election, which is very critical. So I believe that the Electoral Commission must listen. She must listen to civil society. She must listen to political parties. She must listen to Parliament, and must, of course, speak to experts, persons who have run that institution.
You have now gone back to IPAC, right?
Yes, we've gone back to IPAC, and we hope that IPAC will be IPAC, not where they just come and deliver messages to you. It should be a platform where you discuss and agree. That's what we used to do.
You must also know that IPAC is not to usurp
the
authority and
we admit
and responsibility of the EC.
Electoral Commission always want to go and quote Article 46, which gives them their independence, that in the performance of their function, nobody should do anything. But clearly, they are doing things and violating their own laws. And we cannot sit down and just say because of independence, so we should not be interested. No. Members of Parliament, we are going to be subjected to an election. Yes. Can you imagine if because of insistence that I am independent, we don't check them to do the right thing? Then on that day, you appear there, instead of being on the number 1 on the ballot, you are now number 3 on the ballot.
That was serious.
Like what happened during these district level elections.
I'm told that there's a person who died.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the EC was not informed.
He won't post.
But his picture was there, so the people also voted for him and he won.
And even sometimes when they are informed, it may be so late to be able to
the printing
is already done, the notice of post have gone. But I don't know what the law says, that the votes that comes to him could be declared as null and void, or they have to rerun that particular area. So maybe they have to rerun it. They would have to rerun.
So if you're going to rerun it, between the cost of replacing it, like doing ballot papers exclusively for that place, and then going ahead with the election and having to rerun it, which one makes sense?
Well, if they were, the thing is
because you assume that perhaps the person might not win.
You see, because the issue
and so it might be inconsequential.
Well, they work with laws.
Yes.
Even if they get to know that the person is there, then nobody has officially reported. They cannot on their own remove the person.
You're right.
It's like dead person on voter list. Even if you know you've attended the funeral, you cannot just on your own go and remove the person until they report to you. So.
Correct. Doc.
Well, I'm next year is election year, but let me deal with Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of our viewers, and more importantly, my constituents, Anya Sotum. In fact, let me say that this year has been fantastic for me. To have you mention the name Anya Sotum is a delight, and I was happy.
I'm waiting. The graphic, they've still not done the constituency watch on Anya Sotum.
But I'm happy to hear a very huge stalwart like you in the media domain to mention the name Anya Sotum. It's very happy for me. And let me also say that people really watch this show, and I get hit with many comments along the line for showing up here. So thanks for 2023 and what Good Morning has done for Anya Sotum in terms of selling our road issues and some of the major issues that we are struggling with. But I'll also use this platform to state that Agape and Kwashibu areas, NIC, Palace Town are still very dear to our heart, and those roads will be looked at, and also Fun Milk. And let me wish all my people, over 300,000 people living in Anya Sotum, a Merry Christmas.
300,000?
Yes, we are, by the census, we are 325,000 in Anya Sotum, yes. But the voter population now will be hovering around 170,000. Granted, not all of them would vote,
and not all residents there vote there also, even for those who some are residents there, but they vote in other constituencies.
Yes, and let me say, Merry Christmas, and I'm hoping to use this avenue. I think next week Friday I'll be doing a kids time with the MP. So if you feel like providing popcorns for the children,
which date?
29th.
29th. That's a Friday.
Yes.
Yes, my brother could use birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So
I think you'll be 48.
We'll be taking popcorns for the children.
Where will you have it?
Right in front of the municipal building in Anteku.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it every year. Anteku is one of the electoral areas close to Anya.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm very excited.
All right.
Anything you do for kids is fun.
Okay.
But in concluding, elections are processes, and I think that the integrity of the process is very important. And when changes happen, whether for good or bad, it needs to be looked at carefully in terms of the consequences. I personally was shocked that the numbering, because when people go campaigning, they say I'm number 1, number 2, number 3. It means a lot, because some of our constituents, when you say Asieho, when she goes, she's just going for Asieho, regardless of the face and name, and it's critical that we make sure that if Kofi Adams is number 2, he shows up at number 2 on the D-Day, because it can mess you up.
In fact, if they were not important, we would not have an exercise to determine that.
Yes. So I would plead with the EC that one day they come and apologize to all the contestants or aspirants whose faces and numbers were mismatched, and then from a quality assurance standpoint, the Electoral Commission has to be minded and guided by.
I've just seen a text which says that there was also several reports of ballot papers far less than the actual, and there's a fear that it could be a precursor.
So I really think that this has to be carefully looked at in terms of their logistics, printing, and things, and I think that who knows, maybe they've changed their printing company. I don't know, but these things need to be looked at. And in concluding, I think
the EC surely has a quality management assurance unit. Sure. I'm sure they do have that.
Yes, they do, and they need to up their game, because from what I saw this, Tuesday, we need clarity on December 7th next year. We don't want situations where there'll be minor confusions that are not necessary, which will mar the integrity of the results when the NDC loses. And it is very important that we make sure that clarity is there. I want people who lose to know they've lost, and if God forbid it's the reverse, we need to also be very clear in our mind that hey, the numbers, this is not I need the whole, what did he say, lead,
comfortable lead.
We don't want a comfortable lead pronouncement when in fact it's a comfortable failure. So that is my thing with the Electoral Commission. But I think the agents conducted themselves well, and I'm pleading with well wishers of candidates to act well. I mean, some of them act out of line, and that also, we should do a non-violent election process and make sure that property and...
I hear quite a number of incumbents lost in your district.
Yes, unfortunate. And we have...
And I'm told all those incumbents who lost are pro-MPP.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. The key word is affiliated.
Randy, Dr. Adomako Kisi, I wish him well in his primaries. And I believe that despite all the challenges that he's going through, he's been a good rep of the constituency in Parliament and even nationally. So I wish him well. But it's quite clear that they are losing and they are putting themselves in a comfortable lead situation. Because if you look at the reportage that they gave to themselves about even these district level elections, it's so clear that they have already started
57
point something.
If you had the Afafranto 40 something, that means we are 100 and something for just the two, the party and the movement.
Yes, the party and the movement. They have more than 100. They have more than 100%. But Randy, clearly, I want to say that this week His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the incoming president, who will be here to save us from all these scandals that we read every day, that we wake up that old men, old ladies, young persons who have sacrificed and put their monies cannot get their own money and they have to pick it. Someone who is coming to save, someone who is coming to run a 24-hour economy so that even young persons in school, in the university, like we do when we travel out of Ghana and get some job to do and make some money, will be getting such opportunity when the 24-hour economic system is introduced. At least there will be a lot more jobs than we currently have. So that is a way to solving unemployment problem. His Excellency will be in one of our regions, which is Central Region. And Central Region, for me, is home to me. But it birthed me politically. Okay. And so they should be out there in their numbers. He is going to end the tour of the region with a mammoth rally in Kaswa on the 23rd, which is Saturday. And so all of us must move in there to end the year in a nice way. So we plunge ourselves into a victory year of 2024. That is what we need now. As a savior, that is what the country we need one who has been tried. We need one who has been tested. We need one who has proven both in office and out of office that he understands the country so well. As for my constituents, I always wish them well because they gave me the opportunity to be here. I'll be joining them from Saturday. The Adontin walk on Saturday, I will join them. The Adontin Hima who turned 50 years on the stool will also be celebrated. Yeah, 50 years. The Queen Mother of the Adontin traditional area, 50 years on the
Why, she was in stool at 10 as a teen?
I'm sure she was in stool somewhere around 18, 19 thereabouts. Okay. So we will be there to celebrate 50 years. We will be there to celebrate with her on the 24th. And so I want to thank all of them for the opportunity. And of course, the young ones, as if we were planning together. We are also planning some party for the children this time around. We've dealt with the youthful exuberance one who will do a walk, and then the young one will have something for them this time. Oh, sure, there will the liquor absent, but there will be a lot of.
Is it true that the VAT, the taxes will be on Akpeteshi?
Oh, the taxes will be on Akpeteshi. It will be on everything. Akpeteshi. It will be on everything.
Will there be tax on it?
It will be taxed.
And then we'll give the money to somebody for quality assurance.
Yes, quality assurance.
Let's enjoy the
revenue assurance.
Let's enjoy the
so seriously.
There's one Bantu.
Even the to forget they are paying for a period, they are taxing them.
It is a health initiative.
They are taxing them.
Reduce the quantity of
Master.
It is a health initiative.
I'm sure that very soon there will be a need. You know, the informality within the Akpeteshi industry might provide a need for a company to give revenue assurance.
Assurance, yes, to make sure that if it is one barrel, you are doing all the Akpeteshi in the system.
They have to put.
And then they will pay.
There are meters on all Akpeteshi barrels.
Or they'll do blood tests of the people working to check if they drank some.
No.
Anyways, it's been good.
Who was it about?
It made me, but Merry Christmas.
If we don't learn to laugh a bit of ourselves,
some of these things you go.
Anyway, so thanks for joining me, and I really appreciate all the help you've given us. Your appearances on this program, the year 2023 has been marvelous, and you've helped us to still keep Good Morning Ghana. In a couple of weeks, Good Morning Ghana will be 22.
Wow!
On the 8th of January,
Good
Morning Ghana will be 22.
Wow!
Yes.
So there will be a cake cut.
In a couple of weeks, 22 years of Good Morning Ghana.
Wow.
I remember the first show and it was
and you have consistently hosted it.
Tuesday, I created it.
Wow.
Tuesday, 8th of January 2002.
Wow.
It was Edgar Redu and I at Laboni. The second show, Edgar Redu, Egbert Fable and I.
Yeah.
Yes.
That guy is very interesting. I meet him at Pan African.
You when you see him, just scream, "You be the nyami."
You be the nyami.
Anyway, up next, Metro Sport.
Pascal is showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking,